my name is Bisola Miriam, and in this video series, I'm going to answer up to 15 frequently asked questions about assessing full funding. So let's get into it. The first question is, how long does it take to get a fully funded? Actually, it can take from little as short, it can take from 3 to 6 months, or as long as 6 years, or as long as whenever, or you might never get it. So the thing is, set a plan in motion, stick to the plan on a weekly basis or every 2 weeks, and you can get fully funded in 6 months or in a year if you work at it. The second question is, what then do I need to put together if I am looking to get fully funded in 6 months? So I'll say that in the first month, set out a plan to get your transcripts and connect to professors that you want to reach out to get recommendations. Also, make a list of schools you're looking to apply to within the first month, or begin to search by connecting with old students who are also studying abroad. In the second month, set out a plan to begin to narrow down on the list of schools you want to apply to. And by the second month, you must have developed what I call a personal, communal, and global story. Have a strong PCG, what some people call your elevator speech. So have a strong statement that captures in 3 sentences why you want to study what you want to study. Okay, and that statement is what then helps you to expand on your statement of purpose, your letter of introduction, and of course it should reflect in all of your application documents. Now let's go on to the third month. In the third month, you must have begun, by the end of the second month, you must begin to build connection with professors or schools that you're looking to apply to. And so in the third month, you should begin to apply and have all of your essays reviewed or almost reviewed, or if not by the third month, at least all of your applications should have been sent in the fourth month. Now, but in that fourth month, you can even make a list of your backup list of schools or opportunities that you can also apply for in case some of those that you did apply for in the first cycle did not work out. By the 6th month, you should actually, by the end of the 5th month, you should be following up with your professors who may have gotten reference requests from places you applied to, asking them to fill recommendations for you. And you can just follow up with them so they complete those recommendation requests. By the 6th month, you must have begin to receive responses from the different schools. You get some bad news and mostly good news if you do the work. And by the end of the 6-month plan, you should be ready to go for your visa interview if a visa is required to go study where you're going. And by the end of that 6th month, you should have left your country, what we call in Nigeria Japa. Now let's go on to the next question, which is the third. Now that I'm looking to study abroad, is it possible to take my children with me? Yes. It is possible to take your children. As a matter of fact, as a student, you're entitled to take as many as 3 children rather. So you can take 1 child, 2 children, or 3 children. And guess what? As long as, of course, it's important to know that as long as these children have not gotten to the age of 18, you can take them with you. But when they are above 18, it becomes difficult to take them with you because they would be considered as children that can take care of themselves. Now, in addition to that, let me also say that while you're planning to take your children, most of these funded programs do not cover childcare. Some do, but many do not. And so you need to make plans for how then do you support those kids or those dependents that are coming with you. If you have a partner, it makes life even easier. A partner can come with you alongside your children, and this partner can also support you while you're in school. Or it's even beautiful when both of you are in school and this partner can simply support. Both of you can support each other financially to take care of your dependents. Now let's move on to the next question. The fourth question is about spouse, right? So can my spouse go with me? Very much so. I already answered that. So a spouse can come with you. Either the spouse comes with you as a student like you, as a scholar like you, or the spouse decides to come as a dependent. When this spouse comes in as a dependent, this spouse can get to work depending on the country or countries you guys are applying to. The children would also get support that, of course, the other parents support in addition to your presence as one of the two parents. And the next question about transcript. So some people think that WES evaluation is the only way through which they can get their transcript sent. Actually, some schools would require that you do a WES evaluation. So the actual question is WES evaluation compulsory? It is not compulsory, and it is not all the schools that will ask you to do a WES evaluation. In fact, many schools would not require that you do a WES evaluation. So do not go ahead and do a WES evaluation when you should not. There is a video on my channel here where you can learn about WES evaluation. Simply, search content on my YouTube channel and simply type WES transcript evaluation, and then you watch that video and learn how to evaluate your transcript on WES for free. So you really do not have to pay. So especially if you're looking to convert your transcript from one format to another, maybe the school you went to uses a letter grade and you're trying to convert to number, you can do that for free on a WES platform. You can go to wes.org or simply watch the free video on my channel. Now let's talk about reference requests. Who should write recommendation letters or reference letters for you? Actually, not anybody should write you a reference letter. You need people to write you very strong recommendation letters. So be careful who you're asking to write you reference. Again, do not go ahead and ask someone who would say terrible things about you to write you a reference letter, because you need to be careful, because what that person says to a large extent affects your application process. So choose carefully. Let's move on. Now, when you're also looking to get people to write you references, make sure that they can speak about the area in which the academic community or that funded program wants people to speak on. So do not go and ask a pastor who does not know a lot or a little, or who doesn't know anything about your academic journey. Yes, they might know a little, but find someone that you have worked with closely on that area that you're looking to request a reference for. Maybe it's a job. If it is a job reference, for example, think about the employer that can speak so highly of you. If it is a funded program that you're applying to, think about supervisors in college or professors at your university, or that you have worked with as a research assistant, as a teaching assistant, or who taught you in grad school or in college or even high school. Think about that carefully. All right, so the next question is, where should I go to? Should I go to the USA or to Canada? Actually, you can go anywhere. As long as you get a fully funded program, you can study in any part of the world. So when scholars are applying, I often recommend that they do not limit themselves to applying to certain countries alone. In fact, I often recommend that they have a top choice, a second choice, a third choice, or maybe a fourth choice. So apply to different countries. Do not just limit yourself to applying to the USA or to Canada alone. Sometimes your second choice might end up becoming your first choice. That's how life is. So don't be caught up in this world that makes you think that be a little flexible. That's what I'm just trying to say. Be flexible. Now let's move on to the next question. So the next question is, I finished with an OND or an HND. I do not know if I can get fully funded, or are fully funded programs for people who only went to universities? No. Hello? No. Fully funded programs are not meant for people who only went to universities. These are inclusive programs. As long as you can present your document, you can show that you're a good and strong candidate for that matter, you would get in. I mean, people who go to polytechnics or who have HNDs or ONDs also wrote essays in school. They also took exams. They also got grades. They wrote papers. you can, once you can put your document together and send a strong application, they do not, it does not matter if you have an ONG, if you finished with an HND or a degree, all right, from a university or a degree from a polytechnic, it does not matter. Let's move on. So, are fully funded programs limited to certain areas? No, fully funded programs are not limited to certain areas. In fact, fully funded programs are open to people looking to get education in different areas. So do not think that fully funded programs are open to people who are focused on certain areas. So there is no limit to the opportunities out there. You just need to know the funding opportunities for your area. Now let's move on. So the next question is, someone says, I want to work, but I don't really want to go to school. But is it possible for me to get a short-term program that will allow me to work shortly after graduation? So I will tell you this. When I finished my first master's degree in the States, I got a full-time job, right? So I'm saying this here so that you know that now I finished my master's degree in 18 months, meaning in less than 2 years. So if you come in, you can actually take courses or be in school just for 3 semesters. And after those 3 semesters, you can actually get fully funded. Does that make sense? So let's move on. The other thing is, I want to work. So now, I already answered the part of not working, and let's move on to the next question. So are funded programs only for PhDs? No. Like I said, I finished a master's degree and it was fully funded. So fully funded programs are not limited to master degrees alone. All right. Now to the next question. So I finished my first degree in a certain area. Can I go or do something else or choose a different area that is not related to my first degree? Very much so. You can choose an area that is unrelated to your first degree, as long as you can tell a story or be able to convince the academic committee or the funding committee that you have moved in a geometric or arithmetic progression from where you are coming from to where you want to be. Meaning, let there be an explanation for how you are how and why you are transitioning from that previous area to a different area. In my case, for example, I transitioned from a master's in communication, to now doing a master's and PhD in social work and a law degree. I was able to tell my story, in a way that made sense to the academic committee for these different programs, helping them understand why I chose to transition that way. All right. Transition in and go in that direction. So it is not impossible for you to do the same. So now, how do I connect to professors abroad when I'm looking to get their attention? The thing to get at their attention is to tell a good story. Like, you need so there's something I usually tell my scholars to do, and that is that they write a letter of introduction. When you write a strong letter of introduction, what is typically called an LOI, that helps you to tell your story in a way that is captivating. The LOI is letter of introduction, and it's a simple description of you, your interest, and why you want to work with that professor. So once you can write that story in a very simple and very easy to understand way, following the PCG strategy, you would get the attention of a professor. And I bet they always respond to their emails. They do not ignore emails. They take those things very seriously, because email is their primary channel of communication. Let's move on. Do I still need to provide proof of funding after I've received a scholarship, a grant, a fellowship, or an assistantship? No. Once you receive funding, it is fully funded. You do not need to provide any extra document. As long as your funding letter tells you the amount of funding you got, or the amount of scholarship money or grant money or fellowship money or assistantship money you have received, you just need to calculate how much it takes to be in that program or to study that degree. And when you're able to tell the difference and see that the difference is zero, right, from your bill from the university and the funding money you received, Once the difference is zero, then you've gotten a full funding. You just need to provide that funding document, and that is what you send to the university, and the university then releases your I-20. The I-20 in the US, for example, is what you use when you're applying for a visa interview. Now, what next after I have talked about all of this? So usually it happens, and this is the sad news or the bad part. What happens after a visa denial? So if after I got in a fully funded scholarship grant, fellowship, or whatever, I go for a visa interview and I get denied, what do I do? So people have the situation where after they have everything, they have money, and they still get rejected. Visa denial can happen when you're not able to tell your story in a way that convinces the consular officer, for example, at the US Embassy, that you're going to come back home, or that you need to convince them. So in my case, I got a fully funded program. I went for my first visa interview with my kids, and we were denied. So I needed to go back and retell that story in a way that was gonna convince them. And so what you can do after a denial is to highlight what has changed. I mean, begin to document from the day you got denied the things that have changed from that day you got denied to the time you're going to go for the next visa interview. Maybe you didn't tell them convincingly that you were going to go back home. You should be able to show proof of the things that you're doing that show that, or demonstrate that you will be coming back to your country. Maybe you went for the first visa interview with children, or you're changing your mind the next time and you're planning to go alone for a while and then have the children come meet you later. You need to tell that in a convincing way so they know why, or you're going ahead and then you're going to go take your kids later, or your spouse later. So I hope that with this video have been able to answer some of the frequently asked questions about how to get fully funded. Now, if you're looking to get more insight aside from this FAQ, I want you to follow the link in the description of this video. First, to sign up, to learn how to sign up and join my email community. Second, you also get to learn about my different services. And of course, if you're looking for a one-on-one support, follow the link as well. On top of that, I want you to do me a favor. There are a lot of people who are stranded on the journey to securing full funding, and you and I can bridge that gap. How do you do so? By sharing this video with up to 10 or 100 people today. It is free, and so make sure you share it and make sure that as many people as possible have this information, because knowledge indeed is power, and you and I can make that change. Will you do that? Thank you so much for watching, and if you found this really useful, leave a big shout out in the comment section, and make sure that you've also signed up to join any of our coaching programs if that interests you. Take care.